This week I've had a few accounts come in. One of them's historic but obviously new to my ears, and it's going to be new to yours, and one of them's just from literally last week. It's an interesting one. So we'll start with the historic one. They're both from York, which is interesting. So we're not East Yorkshire, but these have been passed on to me by a very good friend and someone I trust and sort of respect. I know that his word's good. So what we've got is a sighting from a lady who lives in East York, and she prefer not to be named, and she's coming home from work. Let me just put my glasses on because I've got a few notes here, and she's clearly seen something very unusual in the sky. I think it's important to stress that she's not necessarily a believer in unexplained phenomena, so she's going to be looking for the logical answer to these things. Well, we all do anyway. We don't just believe it for sake of believing it. But she's looking for a Prozac explanation, let's just say it like that. And at the time, she couldn't think of what this could have been. It was 2 to 3 years ago, so we're talking 2017, 2018. Remember, no notes made. It's just from memory. I've been relayed this story. It's about 8 p.m. in the evening, and she's walking home. She thinks she was on Newland Park Drive, possibly Thief Lane. So anybody familiar with York will know this location. I'm not. And she says she looked up towards the Hull Road area. She saw something moving in the sky. So, it could have been an aircraft, it could have been anything, but as she's looking, then she realises that it is highly unusual. And she said her exact words were, it looked like a big London tube of a carriage in the sky, which sounds incredible if that's what you're looking at. I can't think of anything that could be described as that unless it were a commercial airliner that's actually parked on a runway. And she said it had windows in it. And then she sort of reiterated and said it were perhaps closer to looking like a bus in the sky. Which is interesting because we've heard this before, people saying like it looked like a bus. They've seen this object, and I suppose your mind just takes you to, you're looking for comparisons. It's hard to think of something, I don't know, let's call it from another world perhaps, looking like a bus. But we've no idea, and the human mind's looking for something it can relate to. And this lady said, a tube from a London train or a bus. The windows were illuminated. She cannot recall it moving at great speed. It was just moving in a forward direction. And she thinks it was silent. It had 6 to 8 windows in it. So there you go. We've got this. It's a bit ambiguous. We've got this sighting from 2017, 2018. I don't think we're going to have any witnesses come forward to this because we've not got an actual, even a month. But nevertheless, I think it's worth noting. And so that's the first one that I was told. Now this one's a little bit closer because we've got the 22nd of August 2020. So as you're listening to this on Friday night, you'll realise it's not that long ago. I've changed the guy's name and I've simply called him John. Now by John's own admission, he's a highly qualified man. He holds down a job with a national profile, and keen to stress when I was told this account that I didn't give any details about his profession or his real name away, and obviously that's what we've got to respect. It's nice if you can put people's names on to sort of add a little bit more weight to the story, but it doesn't take anything away from what this guy saw or heard to start with. So he says 22nd of August he woke up at about 4 a.m. in the morning in response to a very loud noise. He actually woke and thought something had crashed through the roof. So obviously quite an event if you're sort of woken from a deep sleep and something like that happens. But it was so loud that it sort of made him get up out of bed, put a few clothes on, and would go outside and investigate, because he wanted to know what this was. He says he saw a very, very bright light in the sky at about 60 degrees on the horizon, adding that it's at least what did he say? 20 times brighter than the brightest star in the sky. So if we picture a big bright star, 20 times brighter, it's pretty illuminated. This is 4 a.m. in the morning. First of all, he thought it was a police helicopter. So once again, what we're doing the human thing. We're thinking it's the dragon light from the police helicopter, and that's what we'd all do. But he realised there was no noise. And from the distance from where he was and where this object was, he thinks he would have heard noise. So there's no noise. He watched it, he says, for about 4 minutes. Much of the time, it was just a steady white light, he says, and then it began to blink at regular intervals. Now, for me, that throws it into something man-made. And I'm not discrediting the guy's sighting, but it kind of... Well, who's to say that something not man-made would blink? But we've all seen aircraft or a landing lights coming towards you, and then all of a sudden you see lights blinking and what have you. But it's pretty sure it's nothing like that. But we've got to throw all elements in. I could have easily missed that bit out that it blinked, but that's what he said it did. Then it just sort of faded out. He's keen to say that the sky was exceptionally clear, no clouds at all. The next moment, it seemed to be coming closer to him, and becoming much brighter. And then he said it flew off at the most, his words, not mine, the most fantastic speed. I think it's an interesting sighting, and just like the previous one, the 2017-18 one, because, he's not making no boast that he thinks he's seen some alien spacecraft or anything like that. It's laid out as it is. And, the next minute, there's nothing to see. This guy's got no idea what it could have been, but he also said it was nothing sort of astronomical, and sort of nothing that he'd ever seen before. So there you go. You've heard 2 sightings, both from York, and I hope they were a little bit interesting.